And it is that time again for another comic book spectrum here. We got Elaine and Cliff in the house here. And I hope that you guys have been paying attention to the thumbnails because the thumbnails always have actual, if I could say, not really importance, but subjectivity that will be talked about here. But before we get into the Bloodhound Gang and memories of the Bloodhound Gang, one of our members says, like, hey, somebody in his quadrant actually brought up an article that they want us to discuss. So,
Okay. Yeah, this was let me pull this up. My a friend of my wife's cousin, sister, uh, old roommate, somebody wrote an article for something called rstreet.org. And because I'm the comic book guy, they know. They're like, hey, this article was written. Now, the name of the article is Why Marvel's, and I'm going to butcher this word because I live in Mississippi, recidivism rate is lower than DC's.
Oh,
And
recidivism.
yes, the likelihood of a criminal to commit another act of crime. Um, let me see. And in the article, she talks about he, whoever Logan is.
Logan
It
is the
may
he.
be
That's Wolverine.
it may be Wolverine.
right.
Um, let's see. Talks about how superhero comics have explored criminal justice more than any other medium. Uh,
That's true.
Yeah.
After conducting a thorough meta-analysis of the multiverse, we've determined the Marvel model is better to improving public safety and rehabilitating criminals.
Oh,
Okay, let's see.
oh, okay. Which
Uh,
criminals are they talking about?
well, see, this is where it gets where it gets a little bit weird to me. All right, so it talks about so what does it say here? It says uh hero in the DC universe, the letters DC are appropriate given the big government DC style solutions the publisher tends to favor. Heroes operate as enforcers of the law, relying on brutality and intimidation and imprisonment to maintain order. Prisons and mental health facilities provide inadequate services functioning as revolving doors where criminals are temporarily locked up and beaten before escaping, only for the
Arkham.
process to be are all ready for the process to be repeated. Uh, Nowhere are the deficits of the DC model more evident than in Batman and Superman comics. Let's see the exact in Batman. Let's see, Batman. Of course, they bring up Arkham and says the Joker escapes Arkham Asylum. The Joker goes on a murderous rampage. Batman beats up the Joker, and the Joker returns to Arkham Asylum. The process repeats sometimes over the course of a single night. Instead of brutal vigilante beatdowns, breaking the cycle requires real solutions, with de escalation, mental health support, and reintegration programs chief among them. And then for Superman, they use Lex Luthor as the example. As a billionaire with vast resources, Luthor is constantly shifting between political respectability and open criminality and back again. He was elected president in 2001. Uh, Luthor is never held fully accountable either on the battlefield or at the polls and is always able to post bail, underscoring that wealth rather than public safety determines who stays behind bars. Those are the only two examples they gave of Marvel's, of a DC's recidivism and why it's bad.
Okay, so the main recidivism is the Joker and Lex Luthor.
Well,
So
Yes. And
who?
I don't want to poke holes as of yet because I need to understand what they've seen in Marvel.
now this
Yeah,
is
that's what I was about to
okay.
ask.
Now, the Marvel model. Unlike DC, Marvel heroes generally take into account the broader factors that influence criminal behavior. They understand that villains are ordinary people whose lived life experiences lead them down the wrong path. Marvel antagonists are often shown compassion for their past errors, with an understanding that crime can stem from systemic issues, personal trauma, or simply misguided choices.
Did
Now, the
she
first
never
example,
read classic Fantastic Four?
and the very first example they give, now I will agree with this one to an extent, but not the way they word it. The first example they give is the X-Men. As a child, young Eric Magnus Lesnar, Magneto, survived Holocaust, death camps. His trauma was a major contributing factor in his later descents into genocidal rage. Had Professor X not offered his nemesis a second chance, the supervillain likely would have struggled to access stable housing and employment. Given a clean slate, Magneto went on to lead Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, the polar opposite of Arkham Asylum.
Okay.
At the X-Men school, at-risk youth are identified early, enrolled in trauma-informed education programs, and provided mentorship from credible messengers. There's more. Captain America embodies a balanced approach and strong advocacy for systemic change, prioritizing accountability, second chances, and the protection of civil liberties.
Red Skull may have something to say about that.
Captain America's best friend, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, also proves how effective community service can be. Due to a series of unfortunate events, Barnes becomes a brainwashed assassin, but through careful deprogramming, cognitive behavioral therapy, and work release with the Avengers, he becomes a valuable public safety asset.
She saw the movie.
In the end, Barnes expresses genuine contrition for his murderous past. Okay, so in this last part, for those in the fandom, it is good to recognize that redemption stories are possible in the DC universe. See Harley Quinn, and that Marvel characters like the Punisher do not.
Suicide Squad.
Marvel characters like the Punisher
and
do
Harley,
not always follow a
Harley
smart
Ivy cartoons
on-crime approach. Overall, the Marvel theory of public safety yields better results. If we truly want to lower crime rates, we must abandon the rigid, outdated DC model that has given us Joker-level recidivism and a Lex Luthor democracy. The Marvel model, while fictional, reflects a real-world hypothesis, turning villains into heroes and more effective than locking them up. Okay. I got a lot to unpack about this.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, she watched Loki, fell in love with Tom Hiddleston because she saw him naked in the high rise, and
Man, I ran Joe off.
No, you didn't run me off. I'm about to get ready to warn people.
I'm
about to warn people.
You're about to
get the version of me who have written several articles for a magazine called Comics Unlimited.
Oh God.
Whoever wrote this is quite obviously they don't read comics. They don't. They don't.
I kind of get the feeling she's seen movies.
Mm-hmm. I guess.
I would get that. I
don't know this person. If they came up to me on the street and slapped me in the face, I wouldn't know who they were. But I could kind of get what they were trying to go for with the article. My biggest issue was, one, you cannot compare Arkham Asylum, which is a mental institution and a prison, to a school as your comparisons. And you cannot compare Batman and Superman's arguably chief enemies to a Holocaust survivor and Bucky as your examples for how you reform a villain. If you want to go that track, okay, but you need better concrete examples than that. There are plenty of examples in both universes of villains turning the corner. There are plenty of examples of heroes turning bad. You just do not open up Wikipedia and type in superhero villains and bring up the first three that come up. It makes no sense to me. And it makes no sense to me someone read it and thought it was a good idea and published it. So,
Obviously, whoever read it isn't a comic book person either. This is what happens when people who are outside the fandom decide their crap don't stink, and they have a right to discourse on, as the old Southern black ladies used to say, stuff that ain't none of your business. You are not, and I'm gonna please stick with me, because the fandom, just like what we're fans of, is a diverse universe, and we have good guys, we have bad guys, and we have a lot of folks who kind of are in between. They, depending on the situation, depends on what they get to be. A couple of movies doesn't make you a fan. You're a fan of the movies, but unless you're reading Marvel, unless you're sitting down and going to the source material, because the movie is what, 2-3 hours at most, 2.5, you're not gonna get the whole. I was reading about Black Widow when she was in her she was never she Black Widow was her code name, but she went by Natasha Romanoff. And when she wasn't kicking people's butt, she was an it girl.
Mm-hmm.
She went to openings. She was a model. She made money, she looked good, and she whooped people's asses when they got on the wrong side of her.
she has terrible taste in men.
You go, you don't make me hurt you. Don't make me
She
hurt
dated Daredevil. Come on.
you. So what? She also banged Spider-Man.
Like I said,
Just let
terrible
me know
taste in
when
men.
I can speak.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, you're talking about, I am 64 years old, okay? You are talking about stuff that has been around since in terms of Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. You're talking about stuff that's been around since the 40s. Unless you've sat down and researched it, shut your damn mouth. Honestly, just shut your damn mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. There are grown folks in the room, and if you're in the room with me, you're gonna taste wall. Okay? I got no time. And I get it. I get it, she's trying, but I'm thinking whatever she got, if she went, if this is the best you can do is pull up some crap on Wikipedia, which is never going to tell you the intense full story. Okay, it used to be when people wrote think pieces like this, they researched it. They didn't take 5 minutes on Wikipedia and copy down the notes. They called Marvel, DC. They talked to people.
Mm-hmm.
They found fans. Hey, how do you view this? So that they had an actual understanding. But okay, I'm gonna let it go, because I can't afford to replace Windows by throwing, and I can't afford to replace this computer by throwing it through the window.
Don't worry. I'm about to get them. I'm about to get them good.
Get
them good.
Get him, Paul. Get him.
I'm really glad that you brought up that it sounded like somebody who watched the movies, because it really does sound like when my sister, after seeing the second Doctor Strange movies, tried to mansplain the multiverse to me. And that's exactly what it sounds like. So
it's like you've seen a couple of Marvel movies and you think you understand these characters.
Mm-hmm.
That's like going to Halle Berry and, hey, there's this girl. She's African, but she spent time in Egypt. They got bombed by the Israelis. She was buried underground, but then she got out. And Mr. Sinister found her ass, and she was a thief. And then she decided she was a goddess, and then she became an X-Men. You want to play her? You know, it's like at least that would have given her more of an idea of who Storm was. Instead, they said, hey, put on this white wig and switch your ass around. You know, and then ask people what happens to a toad if lightning strikes it, because yeah, that's one of the best lines ever written. um
Oh
but then
yeah.
we talking about a woman who didn't get an Oscar until she flashed her titties. So I'm just
I've
oof.
always wanted an Oscar. I could take that.
Right now I probably could use a straight jacket, because this is just
No, you're good. You're
I'm,
good.
Okay.
I, and the thing is like I said, I have loved Marvel since, I mean, I've loved Superman since a little girl because George Reeves. I've loved Marvel because Marvel superheroes have arrived, and Spider-Man. It hello jazz. That's and recidivism is higher in DC. Can we talk about how many times Sandman has gone off the reservation? Can we talk about that stuff? Can we talk about They give Craven the Hunter the movie that wasn't all that good and didn't do well at the box office, and all of a sudden he's a good guy. Hello, can we talk about how many times Craven the Hunter wanted Peter Parker's skin on his wall?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we talk about and yeah, there are tragic characters. Eric Lyncher, Magneto, is in and his story is it's a tragic backstory. I think it was they were sent to Dachau. I think his family was sent to Dachau or Auschwitz.
I think they
I
were in
think he was the
Auschwitz.
Auschwitz, and he
Yeah.
was the only survivor. And then on to worse of it, he's a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gotten it, he feels like both sides. And by the time he and Charles Xavier finally meet up, his attitude is pretty much ingrained. But he came by it honestly. It's not like he woke up one day and said, "Yeah, I just want to do some bad guy stuff." No.
No, it's
You know
because Professor X helped him get affordable housing.
No, actually, Eric, that's not how it happened. But, but it's just there is I mean, hello Sabretooth. I mean,
Mhm.
there is just so much here. I wish she had called you and you had given her my number, Joe's number. So it's like, no, sweetie, this is not something you can. 5 minutes on Wikipedia isn't going to give you an article, because this. Oh my goodness, did she at least use? I mean, she used recidivism. So she's trying to talk to the more collegiate
Mhm.
group.
Yeah.
But I actually know quite a few college professors who read comics, you know, and would sit there and look at that and go, can I find her number? And, you know, tell her that for the next couple of months, don't tell anybody she wrote that article. Don't tell anybody she wrote that article. Cash her paycheck. Go buy her something nice. Go
Mhm.
buy herself something nice. But don't tell nobody she read that article. Because, I just, old lady, I'm 64. I know old ladies who would, say some not nice things to her on the street and wouldn't think twice about it. So, yeah, I don't know who you are, young lady. If you're watching this show, you done bad. You done bad. Don't show up at my house because I'm going to hurt you.
Hey,
That's it.
Papa Joe, you got that look.
I'm sorry. I said I was done and then I wouldn't shut up.
No, that's not it. I'm going to start everything off by saying this rant is now officially brought to you by Plasma Fire Graphics. It's our sponsor for Comic Book Spectrum. And Comics Unlimited, which you could buy on Amazon here. Comics Unlimited is a magazine that's 100% about comics and the makeup of comics, talking about the present, the past, and the future, where you could get articles from yours truly here in a few of these issues here.
I'm gonna get it on Kindle if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to start off by saying this. You're taking a topic that is nonsense when it comes to comics, and you're trying to make it palatable and akin to real life. Furthermore, you started off by comparing apples to oranges, but your major problem, and I'm about to go into this in rant style, you didn't do your homework. And the reason I say you didn't do your homework, because you didn't do your homework on the universes itself. You start off by talking about DC, and you limited DC to the two characters that everybody knows a lot about, that you could easily Wikipedia or grab somebody that is knowledgeable, that is a longtime fan, and ask them, which is Superman and Batman. But to truly understand the DC universe and talk about criminology and recidivism, you can't use Superman or Batman. You have to use these two characters to get a balance. Those two characters, the Flash and Wonder Woman. The reason I bring up Flash's rogues gallery is unique. Most of them either is super powered or have ability. I shouldn't say abilities, but intelligence enough to do whatever they're going to do here. Now let's take a deeper dive into Flash. I'm going to take a deeper dive into particular villains. One, the Trickster. Yeah, the Trickster. He is a mental case. Barry Allen knows that. Barry Allen treats him like a regular person. He doesn't go out there and treats him like, oh, you're a mental case. You need to be locked up in this, that, and the other. He's one of the few people that would go out there and be like, okay, what is bothering you today? You're like, okay, fine. We need to get you back into therapy. Matter of fact, do you want me to come by and visit you? We could go and play your favorite game of darts. That's the nature of Barry Allen dealing with villains. Cap Cole, or Captain Cole. I call him Captain Cole. Captain Cole, it's along the same lines as a Lex Luthor when it comes to scheming.
Okay.
You have to think about the only reason why he doesn't get locked up and thrown away like she makes it, like with Arkham Asylum and everything, is that he created a code of ethics that Barry Allen agreed to. That for every caper that he tries, it leads to no deaths, nobody gets hurt, and it's only for the thing that they wanted to steal. Between himself, Captain Boomerang, and Mirror Master, they originally formed his rogues gallery up under that premise. So if you want to talk about recidivism and about reforms, Flash is where it's at. There are unique agreements that were made. There have been stories told time and time again, especially after the death of Wally West. Captain Cole pretty much was like, whoever broke the ethics, they're no longer a part of us. Matter of fact, that puts us on the run, because it's not just one person that they're going to be after. They're going to be after all of us, because they need to figure out who actually killed Wally. there is those aspects that's in Flash. Now let's get to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's philosophy is never truly to lock up anybody. It's
No.
reformation. It's to point them in the right way. There have been several issues of old school Giganta being sent to Themyscira to learn and be trained. There have been several times that Cheetah had opportunities to go somewhere else to be herself. It's not about being punished and being, not treated for what's going on in, as far as your trauma. It's about dealing with your trauma right then and right there. Wonder Woman was one of the few people that will kill, unlike Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
Now, if you go back to Batman, you have to go back into the 1930s when you actually carried a gun and actually used a gun. Yeah. Superman, even though he's supposed to be the American Boy Scout, he has killed multiple times over, but never, like you said in your article, suffered any accountability. So that's where your article is truly flawed on the DC side, where you didn't do your homework. Now let's go over to the Marvel side. You want to know why there's low recidivism in Marvel? Because most of those villains that do the mass murders and everything eventually die and never come back.
Yes.
Hello. Or should I do it the movie way that they bringing up for their references? McFly. Hello, McFly. Think about it for a second. But this comes back to what Elaine said about understanding the source material. What we're getting in the theaters is not 100% source material from the comics. And a lot of the characters that's being portrayed are not the ones that have been killed off or been prototyped and left for dead and everything to that magnitude. Furthermore, you brought up Punisher. Punisher is a very unique character. Why? Because if you did your homework and go back to source material, look at what happened during Civil War. Punisher was a part of Team Cap. Team Cap was the one that was against Tony Stark, saying that heroes' identities and stuff should not be known and should be kept secret, to help protect not only themselves, but those that they love. By him being on Team Cap, he also had to follow Captain America's philosophy, which is to curve down the violence. You can't just go in and automatically go in and kill people. So there was a mission that they went on, and Punisher did not follow directives. What did Captain America do? Beat the living snot out of him. Did Punisher raise a hand back? No. You want to know why? He had that much respect for Captain America to understand why he did what he did, and to understand the difference of his method, which is Punisher's method, versus his. And he understood that. The only way you get something of that magnitude is that there's a level of understanding. Punisher kind of idols Cap in a way. Okay. And that's the only reason why he never lifted a finger. Any other Marvel hero tried to do that? He would have tried to beat the brakes off him, to try to teach him a lesson. It's like, no, this is the way of the world. But because it was Captain America, and he kind of, idolized Captain America for what he did and what he stands for, he took it like a man. Hands down, just took that beating like a champ. But getting back to the point of recidivism, there was a lot of people that died on their first opportunity of being a villain. A lot of people. Again, you mentioned Kraven. Kraven died several times. One of the few characters that didn't die that wasn't brought up was Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom has, diplomatic immunity, for one. Nobody stopped him from being to taking over Latveria. And then when you look at the history of Latveria, he's a hero.
Yeah.
He brought that country from the brink and made it a utopia. It might not be the utopia that people in the United States may look at and say it's the greatest thing ever, but for the people who live there, they said that Doom has always been fair, just, and a man to be admired. But yet, we here in the States, according to the Marvel Universe, don't understand the true rules that it happens in Latveria, because we only get to see what Doom was when he was living over here in the United States, the ego driven, everything to that magnitude. Furthermore, there's also stories that has been written in the Marvel Universe where Owatu, aka the Watcher, has specifically said that there has been in the multiverse different dimensions where Doom wins and pretty much saved the entire world and brought the whole entire world to utopia.
That's right.
So when you talk about Marvel, you have to understand the universe itself and how characters and stuff work. In Marvel, characters die. DC, not so much.
Yeah, I was about to say Marvel.
I'm not saying that people don't die in DC, but it doesn't happen that often, especially with the main villains and main characters. It doesn't happen because their idea, like she wanted to do the academics. Yeah, Batman and Superman. Oh, we gotta bring them to jail and then go through the whole process, and then they break out of jail again, and then they get their revenge and everything to that magnitude. I remember several times, not only in the cartoon but in the books, Wonder Woman had said to Batman several times, "It's like, you're a billionaire, right? Yes. When you think of your rogues gallery, how come you just didn't help them?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" And it's like, I go and do my due diligence. I bring them to Arkham. It's like, no. Have you ever thought about it this way? Let's take Dr. Freist, for example, or for those people, Mr. Freeze. All he wanted to do was to save his wife. You didn't have to bring him in as Batman. You could have saved him as Bruce Wayne by investing in the technology to help him. And he would go away. He would have never gone down that path. That's the type of question that you need to ask in that so-called essay of yours. What is wrong with Batman what is wrong with Bruce Wayne when he couldn't see something like that? If you want to talk about recidivism.
Yeah, because
Those are the types of questions that you need to ask. Not to say, oh, the universe as a whole don't have, no. Do your homework. Do your MFing homework because, I forgot I have the TVMA. So do your fucking homework. Do your fucking homework before you even open your mouth to say these types of things. Or at least have in the essay, it's like, I'm limiting this to particular instances.
also cite your source,
Mm-hmm.
because I know some fanboys and some fangirls. If they were to see that article, first thing they're going to ask the paper is, what's her source? Where are her sources? Where did she get this information from? And what did she base her findings on? What issues, and they'd have said, if you're going to base it on Superman, Batman, whatever, Eric Lyncher, because the thing is you would have to read a good 30 years of Marvel, just the X-Men, to understand Eric's journey, what it took for him to get to point A to B, you know. Um,
Well,
and we can't all be Tom Hiddleston. We can't
well,
all be that amazing Shakespearean actor who can take the villain and then, because he took ownership of the character, he studied the character because he's a Shakespearean actor and he do that stuff. and said, if we handle, when Disney came to him and said, hey, we'd like to give you a series, and then sat the entire production team, the writers, the directors, and stuff, and said, this is who he is, this is that journey. And this is why he has to take it. You know, it's just, oh, wow,
No,
sorry.
not just that. Also do your homework in DC. Now I'm going to really shatter her. I'm about to shatter this paper. She forgot about the one character in Batman that did not ever, I do mean ever, go to Arkham Asylum. That's a part of his rogues gallery. Show me when has Selena Kyle ever gone to Arkham?
Never.
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 Do
She
you
was
know
never
why?
putting it.
Do you know
Well, for
why?
one, because she was never psychotic. She
Well,
was crafty. She was smart. She was capable, and she loved her Chinese stuff. But she was not a raging psychopath.
she was never a clear danger to the greater public. She was merely a very good cat burglar.
I just like
Now
calling that raging psychotic.
you want to bring up they want to bring up Harley Quinn. How many times has Harley been to Arkham until you get around the right writer to kind of do a redemption story where she became more of a anti-hero now as she leaves the Joker alone.
And in that you also have to add Poison Ivy,
Mm-hmm.
because it's that relationship that helps to save both of them. It gives them both something. Ivy is the one that looks at her for the first time and says, if you're not around Mr. Crazy Pants, your life would be a lot better.
Well, it's two things that they have in common that people underestimate and they don't really talk about. One, they're both doctors.
Yes.
Even though it's PhDs and not MDs, they're doctors.
Yes.
One a psychiatry, and the other
Actually,
of botany.
psychiatrists have medical degrees. That's why
No,
they
she couldn't. Harley could not prescribe
then she was a
medicine.
psychoanalyst or whatnot, because psychiatrists have both a psychology degree and an MD, because they have to be able to prescribe medications.
That's the reason why
So
she
if
was a
she,
psychologist.
okay,
No,
because
she had no
otherwise,
medical. She had no medical, and they have proven that as Harleen Quinn that she was pretty much at the top of her game.
yeah, it was
Pamela Isley, the top of her class as far as botany was concerned.
true.
Her whole deal wasn't really about anything being petty and villainous and all this other stuff, but they eventually kind of write her more towards in TV and movies and stuff, like saving the world and everything like that. But she was pretty much like one of these botanists that was taken advantage of, and because of an accident she gained more control over vegetation and everything, and she used that to her advantage. They were not inherently truly evil. It was the circumstances around them.
Uh,
But yet they were thrown in Arkham because of what they could do
yeah,
that would move towards that insane, unlike Selena Kyle. This is the reason why Gotham Sirens was so much of a good comic book series if you ever read it, because these are three people that usually would not be around the same circles that got together and pretty much became a unit within their own that could rival a Batman.
yeah,
They all became anti-heroes in that aspect. They wasn't always doing good, the good of the people, but what they did served a purpose. It was almost like they was getting back into that mode of what I brought up before about Flash and his rogues gallery, about there was a code of ethics that they followed. But again, if you're going to write stuff like that, do the homework, or at least saying, hey, this is my opinion on this, and be willing to listen to other opinion. There's a way to write that to leave that door open. The way that this article was written was like, this is my mindset. This is what I've seen. This is the way that it is. It's like, you haven't read not a drop of what I have read, and I could see all these holes in here. Are you right about it? No, by no means. But there is an argument that can be made there about it here. But you have to do your homework. In the general aspect of comics itself, you have a point. You should have just left it there. The examples that you use made your paper seem so uninformed that it would, as you can see, it irritated the three experts that we have on here and those who may have been longtime comic book readers as a whole here.
I can
We're
just
not
hear
saying,
what Brian K. Morris has to say about Clyde. Oh, good Lord.
now, I'm not saying that the topic is a bad topic. No, it's a great topic. But do your homework.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest complaint were the examples used weren't similar enough. You can't, like, Arkham and the Xavier School. It would have taken 5 minutes. Google Marvel equivalent of Arkham Asylum, and it brought up Ravencroft. Compare those two.
Yeah.
Bucky started off as a sidekick that nobody liked in the 1940s, and he died, and they decided to bring him back. Use another character. Joe brought up Flash's Rogues Gallery. What he talked about was so true, and then when Wally became the Flash, they got even more in depth with the Rogues and their code of ethics, and the Piper even became Wally's version of Oracle for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Black Adam is sort of DC's Dr. Doom because he went and took over his home country, and everyone there loves him. These are all examples you could use. Mr. Always mess up Mr. Amygdala, who's a lesser known Batman villain. His problem is he needs his medicine in control because his adrenal glands and stuff are so out of control. Batman understood that. Batman helped Arkham come up with treatments for him. When he got out, he was released and he became a recurring character, Nightwing. In Nightwing, Dick Grayson at first was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Mr. Amygdala." And then he pointed out, "No, see, I've got my note from the doctor. They have my medicine inside me. I can't forget to take it now." And he became just a member of the cast.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that could be found in like 5 minutes, just Googling it. And it's just, if you use examples that were the same, that'd be understandable. You cannot use the main two villains in a recurring media where you always have to have another issue next month or another episode the next week and say, see, their main villains never learned. But look at his old sidekick. They learned. It's not the same. I didn't see her bringing up I didn't see the Red Skull all of a sudden donating a bunch of money to the Jewish Community Center. So if nothing else, make your examples work.
And you broke my heart, Carl.
She never talked about the Spectre. Mm-mm. Spectre killed everybody he comes across.
Moon Knight, hasn't Moon Knight done a few people in?
Mm-hmm.
Thought so.
Punisher has. Daredevil has.
Let's not even go. I mean, Punisher.
But Daredevil has too.
Elektra.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Elektra's got a. If that woman was haunted, she's got a couple of cemeteries following her ass. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about.
Or they could have used, if they wanted to stick with Lex Luthor, because they wanted to put in those little funny bits about, billionaires, why didn't they use Norman Osborn?
Yep.
Hello. Crazy family #1 of the Marvel Universe.
Especially Ultimates Norman Osborn.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah.
Again, my
Or
my favorite Ultimate Spider-Man issue is when Norman Osborn came out to J. Jonah Jameson.
I didn't get to read
The first time I ever liked and applauded for J. Jonah Jameson.
Ah.
You
Or you
want
could
to know
have used.
why? J. Jonah Jameson tried to kill him.
Whoa.
Right
Wait
then and
a-
there. Took out a gun. Like,
Damn.
like it's like you did what? And it's like they're the best. In Ultimate, they were the best of friends. They were like this.
Okay.
And when he told him about what he did to Peter, the fact that there was that he was experimenting on other people to recreate another Peter, all the stuff that was happening with Green Goblin, and he said that he was responsible for. J. Jonah heard him out.
It's like, you gotta die. I'm sorry. I gotta kill you.
So it's like, it's like, you know what? I'm glad, he was like, I'm glad that you told me all of this, that, and the other, yada, yada, yada. But you went too far.
You to quote Monty.
You went too far. And it's like, well, what are you going to do? Then he like grabbed the gun, died. And just before he could shoot, Norman turned to Green Goblin.
Okay, see, I wish I'd have seen that issue because that would have been fun to read.
Or you could have made a really interesting article comparing the world views of both universes on crime and use Perry White and Jonah Jameson.
Now that would have been interesting.
That
would have been interesting.
That would have worked because both of them they're pretty much the same character, just they have an entirely different worldview. Yeah. And you could go from there with
Perry was a little bit different.
He was, but I mean, for the article, it would work.
He was also more pro Superman,
right?
Opposed to
I would say pro Superman, but he was
compared to J. Jonah and his treatment of Spider-Man.
He was more worldview versus what was happening right outside your door.
Yeah,
right.
But and that was also J. Jonah. Jonah was more concerned with. Jonah wasn't really concerned with national or international news. It was just what's happening wherever Spider-Man is. Whereas, Home Dude, he was thinking, because he was an actual newspaper guy. He was thinking about what's happening in the world, how's that affecting where we are. It all mattered. And yeah, there were times when he wasn't all that happy with Superman, but he wasn't on the let's destroy Superman bandwagon the way J. Jonah was. I used to wonder, was J. Jonah gay and he just really needed to ring Spidey real good? Because there was times when his anger was bordered on the sexual obsession.
There was an issue years and years and years ago where, I mean, he basically laid it out. He goes, I don't like him. Why does he have all these powers? He's making me feel small and like I'm less of a man. I don't remember what issue it was.
It was more than just that here.
Yeah, but it basically boiled down to that.
The way it was explained is all comes back down in this, again, all fits into our article. PSTD. J. Jonah Jameson has been a victim.
PTSD.
He has been a victim to people who call themselves heroes up under a mask. And that was the major problem. It's like he doesn't like any hero that is a masked hero because of what had happened to him. And then we're also talking about an editor who sent his wife up the river, who happened to be a well-educated scientist who helped them create the Spider Slayers to kill Spider-Man.
That was always such a trip with Spider-Man comics. Most of the people who showed up to fight him, somehow JJ ended up helping creating them, like the Scorpion.
Yeah.
Scorpion.
I'm just and I'm mad at this girl because I had stuff to present tonight. I was supposed to review something really good and something really crappy, and I don't have time for that. So
I'm sorry.
No. Just because she didn't wreck my. I had some really good stuff to talk about.
And we haven't seen our special presentation as of yet. That's going to be 13 minutes
We
either.
got a speech. Yeah, we got a speesentation. Look what you done. They made me stupid.
No, but this is a good conversation to
I'm gonna
have
snuggle
because
my birdie.
this is a good conversation to have because again, I don't like how if one of my mantras, it's been one of my mantras as a publisher and as a comic book creator and as a comic book fan and collector. You always want to turn people on to stuff and not turn people off. And articles like this would turn people off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's just one of those things. It's like you're trying to make something academic out of something that was not researched properly to be academic.
Yeah.
Because if you want to talk about recidivism, I could tell you certain stories that does not fit this narrative. God Love Man Kills does not fit this narrative because why? The eventual hero of the story was not a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a mutant. It wasn't a member of the X-Men.
Hell,
It was a member of, and sorry for the spoilers, folks, it was a member of the New York Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you have to do your homework. You have to know your source material. You have to read the stories to understand what's real, what is real and what is not. A sample size from movies and television does not equate the source material from the actual written word or the drawn stories here. And we're in that day and age where people feel that, well, I seen the movies, I know the lore. It's like you only know this much of the lore
Mm-hmm.
because that's only how much a movie or a TV show can give to you in those doses here. Now, if you go back and read hundreds of issues of these books, then you'll have a better grasp of the lore and you could really expound upon it and talk about it. And I'm not saying that if you have to read hundreds and hundreds of issues here, but
no.
at least once you start going back into the source material, you have an appreciation for what is being done on the small screen or the big screen.
It
I mean,
reminds me of a joke.
Mm.
The Monty Python, back in the day when they had this series, had a great bit. It was a contest to summarize Proust. Okay. Marcel, oh, okay, I'm not going to tell it because it'll take 20 minutes just to break down it, and I would still like to get my review. But anyway, nobody could summarize Proust because of Proust, all volumes of Proust are a couple. It'd be easier to summarize Tolkien
Mm.
than it would to summarize Proust. It's kind of like, yeah, can you give us the 5-minute version of Middle Earth as a place from from the earliest beginnings to the end? He'd be going, in 5 minutes or less, no, And what they did at the end of the joke was they gave the award to the girl with the biggest tits because everybody failed in it so much, and that's what this kind of it'd be like next time if you reach out to her, tell
Instead
her.
of her, I just say the writer.
Well,
Like I said, I was just given the article by my wife that a friend of hers, his cousin or somebody wrote and said, "Hey, check this out."
well,
I don't
if
know
you
who this
ever
person was.
reach out to the writer, tell them next time they take, because
No,
I
make them
think
be brave.
no, this is,
I will extend the invitation to come here.
yeah, I was about to say comics. People for too long have looked at comics like greasy kid stuff. Comics is it is diverse, it is complex, and just like its fandom, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and you're not going to do it in 5 minutes. And it's like you need to do it's something like this, especially because it's going to get to the fandom. It's here. There are people that we know, they may go look for this. This may not be pretty, you know.
and
Put some real
they
work.
don't even.
Call Marvel. Marvel will talk to you. DC, hey, I'm a writer for blah, 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 blah. Reach out and say, hey, I'm doing this. Give me, and I'm thinking about this. How does that sound in regards to what you guys have put out? That way they can say, if you're going to go with that direction, this is what you should look at. Or if or we don't think if you're going to try to paint us that way, that's not going to work because, and they're going to do it because, hello, they do not want to get bad, mail from the fans going, did you talk to her? Because, or that paper, this paper, if it gets out, and nowadays stuff like this, if you put it on the internet, within a couple of weeks, somebody gonna find that it's gonna be on Facebook or Threads or Instagram, or it's gonna end up in places where other people, if people think we've been harsh, oh my God. People who spend thousands of dollars to go to San Diego Comic-Con will skin her or him. Skin them. They will skin them. It will, other people, when this group is done skinning them, someone else will show up and eat them alive.
That's not the part that I'm afraid of. What I'm afraid of is for the people that's going to look at this and take what she said as gospel.
Yeah.
And they have to be re-educated.
And it's hard. That's the hard part. To explain to people, I still have people I have known, who go, oh, you're doing your little comic book thing. And it's like, if it wasn't for the fact that I know your mama, you'd be in a hospital,
It's just become so much harder to, like you said, re-educate people. Because, this is my philosophy on stuff like this. The internet is the greatest invention in human history, but it's also the worst invention in human history.
Yeah.
Because all of the knowledge you could ever want is out there.
True.
But no matter how crazy of a damn idea you have in your head, the internet allows you to find one other person who has that same idea. And that's all you need to prove that you're right. And you can never re-educate somebody like that. Look at the fact that there are 250,000 members of the Flat Earth Society.
Including, at one point, I hope she has woken up, because I would so hate to have to bitch slap her ass. Captain Janeway herself used to be part of that whole Flat Earth stuff. I hope she's woken up.
I'm sorry, my wife is in the middle of trying to do her therapy online, and we're having an internet issue. I have to go help her get logged in. I'm not running away from the conversation. I apologize.
Okay. We got to say that Cliff is having some technical difficulties over there, which is perfectly fine.
Hello, y'all that sat through my technical difficulties. We can do this for Cliff. Well, this will give me the chance to try to give at least part of my good and horrible, if you don't mind. That way Clip can get to see
we could save what I got for later.
Okay. Really quick. Auntie Moo's good and horrible. I'm gonna get me a sign. And damn. Okay.
She fixed it herself.
What?
Well, go ahead. Let's put your thing on. Okay. We'll put your thing on, and then I'll do the good and horrible, because mine is kind of horrible, scary.
Getting back to something that is good and positive, because like I said, my whole goal for Comic Book Spectrum, since the founder Brian K. Morris kind of left it in my hands, is always going to do something positive. So, like our thumbnail said, we have the Bloodhound games. Like we always, the thumbnails and stuff is darn representative of something that is either comic book related or geek culture related and everything to that magnitude. And we've been on a run with PBS type stuff. We did Spidey Super Stories. Last week we did MathNet.
MathNet.
MathNet. Now, before we had MathNet, we had the Bloodhound game with 321 Contact. And for those who don't know about 321 Contact or the Bloodhound game, we want to talk about 321 Contact next week.
Okay.
That was the PBS science show, more so for, if I could say it, for, I don't want to say for kids, but it was really more for people who were like around like 5th or 6th grade to like teenage years, because they did a lot of different stuff to really show the scientific aspect of stuff here.
Yeah,
I
it's
want
for
to say
middle
that,
school. Didn't they also weren't they also one of the first shows that also offered teaching tools
mm-hmm.
for teachers? Because I remember them, they would end the show and they would say, teachers, if you're interested in and getting, they had lesson plans and stuff that teachers could use in the classroom to buck up what
before
they
there was STEM, this was actually going on back in like the late 70s, early 80s here.
I thought I was having one of those old lady plaque in my brain making me think weird moments.
Because you have to be mindful. There was very, very rarely that you actually had good scientific material to be given for a classroom during that time. But
Yeah.
one of the cool things that was about 321 Contact was the Bloodhound game. And the Bloodhound game originally started off with 3 members here who worked in an actual detective agency. And Mr. Bloodhound was an actual detective. And they worked with him. They worked with him in his office. But when he's not there, they would take some of the minor cases here and work the minor cases within their town and everything, and solve different mysteries and everything to that magnitude. Unfortunately, I can't find a pilot, but I did find a short 13-minute episode that pretty much highlights what the Bloodhound game was here. Now, by the time they got to the 2nd season of this, they added more characters, but this is from season 1. So
Okay.
this is the main 3 characters
I
as a
want to
whole.
add, girlfriend is holding that flashlight like an Uzi, and I'm down with it.
Oh, Vicky.
She holding that flashlight like she about ready to take. It's like, okay, it looks like the flashlight, but in reality, it's an AK-47, and you about to be dead. I'm just down for that.
You're about to see these 3 characters they were serious about it, and it also kind of fostered my love about detective work. If you notice, one of the things that I kind of like write in comic books, at least for the Amazonian, is really more about that detective aspect in determining what's really going on in certain cases and everything. So without further ado, I give to you the Bloodhound game here. No, let's bring it like this here.
Case of the human whale.
Whenever there's trouble, we're there on the double with the Bloodhound gang. If you've got the crime, we've got the time with the Bloodhound gang.
Looks like we got stood up.
You sure this is the spot for positive?
This just doesn't have bird watcher over there.
It's not bird watching, it's car watching. All the guy on the phone said was to meet him here. He'd know us. He said he could always spot a detective. Let's check him out. Sir?
Buzz off.
Mr. Jordan? We're from the Bloodhound Detective Agency.
I asked for a private eye. They send me a bunch of kids. Small fry, still wet behind the ears.
Then you'll want to try another agency, sir. Come on, kids. We'll miss the hopscotch fun.
Hold on. 3 pair of eyes are better than 1, huh? Maybe I can use you.
For what?
Don't you recognize me?
Should we?
Jim Jordan, the tennis whiz. Hey, I was so fast, the newspapers dubbed me Flash Jordan. I was on my way to the top. I guess all that was before your time, huh, kids?
I guess.
Then I got hit and run, busted leg and all that. I never got my speed back. It blasted my tennis career.
Did the police find the car?
No. But I've never given up. I've spent years on the hunt. San Francisco, New Orleans, Boston, Chicago, and I'm still on the chase.
You figure it's here in the city?
I got a call from a friend who spotted it. I took the first flight out of Miami this morning.
What kind of car is it?
White. Big white limo.
Did you say you live in Miami?
Yeah. Giving tennis lessons to clucks and gum chewers.
You want us to find the white limo?
You got it.
There must be dozens in town.
Just check out the driver. Head shaved like a billiard ball. Just get me the license number and I'll do the rest.
Well, how do we get in touch with you?
Well, I'll be checking into the Starbuck Hotel at 14th and Bedford. I always stay there when I'm in town.
We'll stake out intersections.
Well, good hunting, kids.
Now watch
You
this.
haven't said a word, Vicky. Why bother checking out his hotel?
Oh, just playing a hunch. What? Let's see what the people at the hotel know about Mr. Flash Jordan. I don't see any hotel around here. Ma'am, can you tell us where to find the Starbuck Hotel?
Try the city dump.
What?
That hotel's been torn down 5-6 years ago.
Thanks. That tears it. Mr. Flash Jordan is playing us for chumps. Tennis pro from Miami. I don't buy it. Didn't you notice how pale his skin is?
Got it. He ought to be as tan as a baseball man.
That's right. He's laying down some kind of a story. He hasn't been in the Florida sun. But why would he give us the name of a hotel that was torn down years ago?
Maybe he didn't know.
But he says he always stays there.
Well, then he's been out of town for a long time.
Or out of circulation. Didn't he tell you he could always spot a detective? Well, only someone mixed up with the law would know something like that. A cop? Or a crook?
I vote crook. Say he has been out of circulation.
In prison.
Sure. He's been out on the streets, right? An ex-con.
Look!
Was the driver bald?
I couldn't tell, but I caught the license. It said Whale, H. Whale.
He must have come out of one of those shops.
Well, I'll go check.
I'll need you back at the office. I'll see what I can fish out of motor vehicles on Mr. Whale. Nothing? Well, thanks anyway. I'm really striking out. There's no H. Whale in the phone book, and the people at motor vehicles have no record.
Must be an out-of-state license.
Do Mr. Bloodhound's file show an ex-con named Flash Jordan or whatever his name is? Did you check aliases?
And came up zilch.
Can you get a readout on escaped convicts?
I'll check. If Mr. Bloodhound entered it, I can get it out.
How would you like a description of the guy in the white limo?
I'd be delirious.
He has a neck like a bull, wears a size 20 collar, and his sleeves are 35 inches long.
But does he have a shaved head?
Yeah, he weighs about 235 pounds. Plenty of muscle.
How'd you get his measurements?
He has his shirts custom made. He went to pick them up when we saw him drive away.
Size 20 collar, 235 pounds? Mr. Whale is really a big fish.
Whales are not fish. They're mammals.
He sounds like a wrestler. Maybe we should check the gyms.
I already have a line on him. His name is not H. Whale. That must mean something else.
Well, then who are we looking for?
Last name Richard, first name Mo, middle initial B. That was the moniker he left at the shirt shop. And he lives at the Essex Hotel.
Nice going, Ricardo.
Here's your list on escaped convicts. Take your pick.
Maybe we can narrow it down. Jordan had a real jailhouse complexion, remember?
How about George A. Habler? Broke out of jail 3 days ago.
Alias New Orleans Kid. Can you bring up his record?
$34 old. Stands 5 feet 10 inches high. Weighs about 150 pounds. Hair blonde, eyes blue. And he's a nail biter.
Sounds like our client, Mr. Flash Jordan.
He was sent up for 12 years on grand theft for the gold bug caper. Hijacked a security truck and made away with $200,000 in gold bars. Never recovered.
Bloodhound Detective Agency, whenever there's trouble, we're there on the double. Mr. Bloodhound isn't here. Oh, yes, Mr. Jordan. No, we haven't spotted the white car yet. Where did you say you were staying? Well, can you give us a number where we can reach you? You'll call us. But, sir, it would be better if... Pretty cagey. Our client is pulling a hide-and-seek act.
I heard. He'll call us?
I'll let the police know that we think Flash Jordan, alias the New Orleans Kid, is in town.
Well, we'd better get to size 20 collar before he does. Don't tell me what Flash hasn't mind. I'll meet you at the Essex Hotel.
Right.
What did he say size 20's collar's name was?
Moby Richard.
I think I saw Mo while screening aliases.
Work on it. Hello, police?
That big fish got away. Checked out 3 days ago.
3 days ago. That's when Flash busted out of prison.
No forwarding address. The desk clerk spotted him coming out of the Melville Arms.
That's just a few blocks across town. Let's go.
Save your legs. I just called the Melville.
Checked out.
Yesterday. After half a day.
No forwarding address, huh?
No, that big guy's running scared.
Say he read that Flash busted out of jail.
And knows Flash is out to get him?
Right.
He could be holed up anywhere. That blue book.
What blue book?
The desk clerk says the whale carries a book under his arm like a pet poodle.
What would you guys do without me?
Spill it.
Moby Richards is an ex-wrestler. Used to know himself as the Human Whale.
His license, H. Whale.
He's also an ex-con. Hijacked a security truck.
Goldbutt caper with Flash Jordan?
None other. They were both pinned up for 12 years, but the Human Whale got out 5 weeks ago on good behavior.
And Flash busted out in a hurry.
The loot was never recovered, was it? All that gold. But I bet you the Human Whale has got his hands on it, and that's why Flash is after him.
Right.
We've got to get to him first.
Well, he certainly seems to like this neighborhood, doesn't he? Let's get a map of the city and start telephoning hotels. Yes, he does have a shaved head. Right. Thanks. Put down the Stub Hotel, 305 East Maple. He checked out this morning.
The Human Whale is hopping around like a flea, but he's not hopping very far.
Yeah, all the hotels are within 6 or 7 blocks of each other. Must mean something.
Like Vicky said, he likes the neighborhood, but he's sure making himself hard to trace.
Say, all the hotels make a kind of a square.
Or a circle. He could be circling around something.
His buried loot?
His car?
His garage. He can flea hop hotels, but it's almost impossible to rent garage space here in town.
So it's never more than a short walk. Find the garage, and we find the white limo.
Find the Human Whale, and we find the loot. He's got it all right.
How do you know for sure?
The guy at the hotel said he was short of cash this morning. He wanted to pay his bill in gold.
H-Whale, the Human Whale.
He led us on some chase.
Skip, run back to the office. Flash Jordan,
The New Orleans Kid?
the escaped convict, he said he'd call us back.
Do I have to babysit the telephone just when we're about to wrap up the big fish?
Now.
Let Flash know where to find the white limo and then call the police and tell them that an escaped convict is on his way to the Midtown garage.
Okay. Bloodhound Detective Agency. Whenever there's trouble with her on the double, Mr. Bloodhound is not here. Oh, Mr. Jordan. Yes, we found the white car you're looking for.
Moby Richard in person.
It's the Kingpin's baby brother.
Funny place to carry a wrench.
Hey, been inspecting you, kid.
Yeah, I bet you have.
I heard you jumped jail. I was going to divvy up your share of gold.
Oh, sure you were.
Hey, I wouldn't double cross a pal.
Yeah, well, I'll take my cut right now.
Sure, kid. Here. Hold it, wait, hey, you know, I served my time. You guys can't hold me.
The escape con is right there, and I think he's got a broken foot.
The human whale threw the book at him. It weighs a ton.
Take it easy, huh?
May I introduce Mr. Flash Jordan, alias the New Orleans Kid? He pulled the gold bug caper a few years ago with Mr. Moby Richard.
You guys got nothing on me.
How about possession of stolen property? Feel how heavy this is. A book this size should only weigh a few ounces.
This must weigh 15 or 20 pounds. I bet it's solid gold. I swear, I never saw that blue book before.
Say all the loot has been in disguise. Like that wrench you slipped into your pocket and made a dull thud when you dropped it. Let's say the rest of the gold has been melted down and cast into tools.
Come on.
Yeah, it's gold, all right.
There are more tools in the trunk of the car.
The judge will throw the book at you, gents.
Bloody fucking kids.
Bloodhound gang.
Yeah, and worth share weight in gold.
And there you have it. That is, you know, whoa.
What's up, you guys? So
Hold
I'm
on.
really committed to this.
For
Thursday
those who
show.
don't,
It's,
come on now. There we go.
Yeah, you got.
Come on now.
Okay.
For those who don't know, the guy that just popped up on the screen, that's Aaron, the psychotronic squirt gun who comes in from time to time here. He has his own show, but I don't understand why that popped up, but it is what it is here. But that's the
Sometimes it
Bloodhound
does
game.
that.
Yeah, that's the Bloodhound game. That's the reason, you know, one of the things from the past that we need to sometimes go back to and appreciate the way that we need.
They were a Canadian show, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That car, that's a Rolls Royce limo.
Mm-hmm.
The trunk opens this way as opposed to that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just renting that they must have known somebody who was nice, because renting one of those even back then wasn't cheap.
I believe they borrowed it from somebody that was either on staff or they just knew somebody that would donate it for like
Somebody was kind enough to say, hey, which kind of leads into, I was going to do my good and then follow with my bad, but this kind of leads into my really bad. There is Amazon has recently released their version of War of the Worlds. Now, there have been several versions of War of the Worlds that were made. The one Tom Cruise did wasn't bad. It was actually pretty decent. There was another one on a precursor to what became Peacock, I think. They did a mini-series, a British mini-series set in Victorian England that actually wasn't bad. It was an interesting take.
I only remember the oldest one.
Yeah, Ray Henderson, the same guy who was the Fly in the original version.
Mm-hmm.
This, now, I'm going to lead in with saying this was so bad they got a 0 rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm not going to say that because that'll just be almost a bold.
They should have got a negative 0 rating.
I'm about to say that's not too hard to get, but I have to think about it. It's like
No. Okay, first, Ice Cube is in this, as is Eva Longoria. There is phoning it in. And then there's, I don't know what they were thinking, but this was the guy who shot this. This was his first film. Mm-hmm. He had up until now done music videos. And I was lucky. I did not have to watch the full film. I watched it as a reaction video by Struggle Nation. I think I've mentioned them before. I love mm-hmm. Struggle Nation. Those brothers are just... It's Struggle Nation here on YouTube. They do reaction videos. They do game videos. Go check them out. Also, check out Centel React, who's also did the... I wish I could do videos with him because I would love the conversation. But anyway, this version... And it wasn't that the idea was bad. It's... And understand, sometimes you can have a really good idea and your execution is like you just wiped your butt and put it on the screen and said, that's my movie. And that was the execution of this. And it didn't just have him and Eva Longoria. Dude played Coulson in the Marvel movies and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was in this. They had some interesting people in this. But they were all just phoning it in would be kind to say. And Ice Cube was throwing down some dialogue that when Ice Cube does a Home Alone, oh my God, it's like, okay, whoever did this movie needs to get shot in the head. I'm sorry. It was and like I said, the idea was good. They tried to do it in some part like somewhat similar to found footage. But the dude who did it didn't watch the Blair Witch or the first Cloverfield because he just didn't get this whole thing. Ice Cube works for the Department of Human Services. In this, he's the only one who works in this building for the Department of Human Services, and he can crack into anybody's phone or computer or whatnot. He has a son and a daughter. One's an adult. The daughter is adult, pregnant, and married. The son is living with him. He doesn't have a good relationship with his kids, but he's so good at his job. And I'm gonna save y'all the headache of watching this on Amazon, unless you just feel suicidal and you want something to make you realize that whatever crap you're going through, there are people who are just, it's like, I don't know, maybe Ice Cube is on the Epstein files, and the dude who shot this movie just has a copy and went to him and said, maybe all these folks are on the Epstein files, and he was like, I got the files, y'all are on them. You're gonna make this movie with me, or I'm gonna put this out there, because none of these people were invested. And when you have a bunch of actors who are known for decent enough performances doing something, there were times when it was like, okay, he wasn't on camera, but you could hear his voice, and you realize he's just sitting there reading what's on the screen in front of him, or he's reading from the script, and maybe he's not reading it all that well. That was his performance from beginning to end. I would say if you have to suffer through it, go watch Struggle Nation watching it, because that way you might actually get some giggles. This was just, it was bad. Saving the world because your son-in-law works for Amazon, and the thumb drive, which you don't have, well, he just happens to have available, that you guys have put the information where if you put it in your computer, you can rewrite the alien's DNA to stop them. But you can't just get into them because it's dangerous. Aliens are blowing everything up. So you tell your daddy-in-law, hey, get online, go to Amazon, order something, and then I can put this in the drone and send it to you. Have we gotten into
That just almost sounds like as bad as the end of Independence Day. Oh, we're going to use this thumb drive and give them a computer virus.
We're going to give them a code. Independence Day, especially the first one, was Shakespeare compared to what I sat through. Okay.
You get the whole thing about, we're going to give them a computer virus. It's on this specialized thumb drive. And we're going to have, what's his name?
Will Smith is going to fly this spaceship that he's never flown in.
No.
Are you talking about the second?
It wasn't Will Smith who delivered the virus.
It was Jeff Goldblum.
No, it wasn't Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum created the virus. It was whatchamacallit.
They were in. Are you talking the second Independence Day or the
No, the
first?
first one.
No, they were in
Randy
the ship.
Quaid. Randy Quaid.
Randy
Randy
Quaid
Quaid was the one who
flew
flew his ship into the ship
into
into
it
the
to deliver,
but
beam.
that
deliver
didn't
the
deliver
virus.
the virus. No, that just took out the mothership that was coming
Will Smith and Jeff
forward.
Goldblum went in the ship inside the mothership.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, okay. Anyway, this I wish I knew how to find Eva Longoria so I could put her over my knees. Spoke her really good because this was a waste. I mean, it's all I can hope is they got paid because this was
Of course they
just
did.
like
This
they.
was on Amazon, you say?
Yes, it's on Amazon. It's on
watching.
Amazon. Oh God,
They
I'm trying to tell you not to watch it. Okay,
Trust me, they
if
got
you need
paid.
to see it, watch it with Struggle Nation. That way, you at least get some giggles out of it. Because if you
Oh
have
no,
to sit
I'll
down,
get plenty of giggles. Trust me. This is right up my alley.
Okay, well, that's the bad. I'm gonna give you the good. Yesterday, I sat and watched episode 3 of Alien Earth. I watched it yesterday myself, and then I watched it again with Centel, watching Centel Reacts, because he's watching it like I'm watching it. And his insight, I usually use his insight in mine because our minds go in different ways. Anyway, remember how I said these are children put into adult synthetic bodies. This episode, now, they've done really good at letting us know what the world is and letting us know the situation with the ship and how these two things collide. This episode that came yesterday brings us to horror. And it brings it home. Oh, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. It takes body horror to a level I did not know I needed. When you take a man's, spoiler alert, go run around screaming yabba 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 for the next 5 minutes, okay?
You say yada 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 gabba, I was thinking yo gabba gabba.
When you take an injured man's lung out of his body and then hook it up to life support and then put it in a container and then cut open the egg that the face hugger is in, knock the face hugger out, pull the little alien zygote out of it, and then put it in that tank with the lung. Oh, your girls can't watch this. You may not want to watch it. But, and part of the horror wasn't just from the alien. I will say our girl Wendy went after that alien with a paper cutter. I wish they had showed us the fight. We heard it though. And you saw something hit a steel wall. When homeboy got that door open, just say it was like you felt sorry for the alien. She was not kind. She was not kind. But again, remember how we were bothered by the fact that he just walked away. I feel totally insulted. Anyway, Joe and I were talking about how these were children.
Yes.
This episode hammers that home, that you are dealing with children. And I realized he took children that were sick. And he wanted children that people weren't going to miss. Families who could be bought off because they had sunk so much money into these sick children, they were beyond bankrupt. So if this rich genius kid shows up, offers you a lot of money and tells you, we'll have a funeral and whatnot, but this will pay all your bills. you let it go. In doing that, though, nobody checked these children's psychology.
Mm-hmm.
So when one child gets jumped by an eyeball octopus creature, it didn't kill her. It didn't hurt her. She survived it. But it made her a little, it definitely set up some PTSD. You have another child who she's decided she doesn't like the fact that Wendy is Genius Boy's favorite. So she pulls a mean girl thing, which he likes because it turns out this trillionaire child is like 17. Okay, and I don't think he's ever been laid. You know. And it's because you have this girl who
Nobody
and
told
you
him he
can
could pay for it.
just because you can pay for it don't mean you might get it. He's 17. He's not legal age. No hookers willing to bet her life. This is 2120. This is post Epstein. Hookers are not betting their lives on somebody who's that rich. And he could have them killed just so they couldn't reveal that, they had him and he was really bad. Anyway,
See,
she
I'm keeping my mouth
skull-bugs him.
shut. I'm keeping my mouth shut.
As a smart child, and there are some children, sneaky children can see other sneaky children. And there are those children who know how to play on the weakness of other children. And this girl is one of those children. And remember, I told you last week that this boy is doing it because he wants to sit down, have a conversation with somebody smarter than himself. She's clever, this girl. She is clever in the point of she comes in to ask him, to get on him about Wendy being his favorite. And I forget what the question he asked her is. And she was like, I thought smart people didn't need to ask stupid questions. Which is, very...
that piqued his attention to a certain degree.
That piques his curiosity. And she is... You can see that if she, as a child, had developed into a teenager, she'd have been a mean girl. Because she plays that with him. She asked him about why Wendy is his favorite. And he says, Wendy was my first. Because he created Wendy before he did the other kids. And she says, my dad always threw the first pig away. And the way the actress says it makes me wonder if there, because if you got into a mean girl's head, you would find that there is, underneath all that anger and spite, there is a hurt child.
But how would she know that her dad throws the first pig away?
She has to be somewhere between 10 to 12.
So she's older than Wendy.
She's maybe a couple of years older. Wendy's somewhere between 9 and 11, as far as I can figure. And this boy, he's a genius, but you can see that he doesn't have wisdom. Because they have all the specimens on this ship. They brought them to this facility. They've locked them down. Now, Morrow has escaped. Yutani's bad guy. And it's interesting. You see a lot of smart people making dumb decisions. Morrow, who works for Yutani, has forgotten the 65 years has passed between when he left Earth and started this mission and now in the show's history. So when he finally grabs a phone to call Yutani to report what's up, he gets Yutani. Unfortunately, she has to tell him, that was 65 years ago. You talked to my grandma. You'd think he'd remember that. But don't feel sorry for Moro, because there's a point when he goes out, he does this thing to one of the little lost boys that, as Centel put it, reminds you of the creepy guy in a van with, hey, you want some candy?
Or as Carl would say, you want free tacos?
it it there were things, and to show how smart but stupid little prodigy dude is. And I love me some Timothy Oliphant. I wish he wasn't married, because I would do things that would make him call me mama and then spank him till he said thank you. Sorry, Mrs. Oliphant, but that dude. Anyway, Timothy Oliphant, and I found out he is an android or a synth. He's pure synth. He is not a cyborg. He is not a hybrid. He is very much an android, the same as Ash and Bishop. And luckily for little prodigy idiot, he very much leans into his programming, which is he cannot by action or inaction allow a human being to be harmed. Little boy comes down where they've got these things, and they've got an egg, an alien egg just a sitting there. And the little stupid teenage boy is putting his face at the egg. And he's because this dude is smart, he's watching, and he had seen it before, where if there's a human, something organic, in proximity to one of these eggs, the egg will begin to open, releasing the face hugger, who then implants the xenomorph baby. So this little idiot is bending over. Ooh, what you got? It's a creature with acid for blood, because he's gotten the reports. Luckily, Oliphant's character pushes him out the room. Now he's ready to throw a snip fit. Oliphant's character, very coolly, this man can act his way. Oh, if he was in that War of the Worlds, Ice Cube would have shot himself in the head. He explains to him very coolly what the life stage of this creature is. The egg seeks out the first organic host of the right size it can find, namely him, because he's the only organic thing in this room full of androids. He said it would implant the xenomorph in you, and then it'd bust out. You'd be dead. So he has to explain to the kiddos, I could have stood back and let this happen, and you'd be dead. And the kid, at least at that point, goes, oh, I'd be dead. And he goes, don't let anybody who's not synthetic in there. It's like, okay, that's the only thing you done said that's smart this entire episode. Because little sneaky girl stood there when he asked her, what do you want? She says, she tells him she wants to surpass him. She doesn't want to just be as smart as him. She knows that her body, so long as nothing happens to it, she can live forever. So she wants to supplant him, which gets him all hot and bothered, because it's like, if I let her study, she'll be smarter than me, and I'll have a conversation with somebody smarter than me, without considering the point of, you let that get smarter than you, and she gonna break your neck. Because he's got book learning, but he ain't got no, what's the
Common
word?
sense.
Wisdom. He ain't got no common sense either. But there was a great question I heard. Hey, Tom.
Oh, there's Mr. Steele.
That our bad cyborg asked the kid that he's mind bugging.
He's asking about which series you're talking about now.
I'm talking about Alien Earth, darling. He comes in real close and he goes, when is a machine not a machine? Which is a great Which is a great question. I asked Charles, and Charles just looked at me like, I got better things to do than deal with old lady craziness. You know, but this and Morrow, oh my God! Like I said, he makes the spooky. There is something so pedophile about him. In how he treats this one guy. It is just, if you could watch it without your girls being there, I would say go ahead. If not, I gotta ask Charles if I can figure out a way to share it so that we can maybe watch it as a team, because they are good episodes. They are really this guy has done his homework. My only concern, and part of it has activated me. I gotta see how this ends button, because they brought the creatures onto the island. Anybody who ever saw the fourth Alien film knows these things can swim.
Mm-hmm.
They can swim. So being around water is not enough to stop them. It has not been said if they're going to just do this in one season or if there's going to be more seasons. But one thing I do know is Disney is shutting down Hulu. As of 2026, somewhere about the middle of the year, there will be no more Hulu. Disney, it has gone from Hulu offering Disney as part of its lineup for extra money, which is how I got it, to now Disney is absorbing Hulu and then shutting it down. So it's like, yeah, you thought you had the creature under the control, and now the creature's eating you. There are aspects of this series that has that feeling.
I'm okay with that, because somehow Hulu and Disney are double billing me every month, and every time I say fix it, they send me to the other company. So I'm glad they're getting eaten.
Tell your whoever is paying, whichever card or whatnot that you're paying it, take it off that card. One of them, in order to keep getting paid, is going to have to come and deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
So long as they know they're going to get paid regardless, they're going to play you. But take them off your bank, or whatever card you have, remove it from the card, so that what'll happen is they'll try to charge your card or your bank, and they'll say, nope, sorry, we never heard of you. And then they will send you an email going, oh, we tried to charge you and we couldn't. Can you fix this? And then you can go back and say, you want to get paid? Fix that. And if they don't want to get paid, they won't fix it. Or you don't have to do it. I mean, you can ignore them. They won't shut your account down altogether. They'll put your account on hold for at least a month. So if you want to sit there for a month and go, before you talk to them, you can do that. And yes, I'm talking to those of you out there in land. You don't need to put money into whatever that rocket money and whatnot. Look at whoever you pay your bills to. Look at your transaction list. They put out a report every month of everything you paid from that account. If you notice you paying for two of the same thing on the same account, or you got two different credit cards that you spread something over, and this one is paying this, and oh wait, this paying that too. Pick one, quit paying them. The minute you quit paying them, they're gonna they will send you an email. Hey, we didn't get paid.
Or better yet, just tell the card that don't pay it ever again. Block it.
Yeah, you can block it. You do not have to deal. Rocket and them are charging you for something that's going to take you 5 minutes.
That's the thing. People are lazy.
Yeah, but it will take you 5 minutes. And that way, and if ever you have bills and you wondering what you're paying, go to whoever. PayPal keeps track of every transaction, and they do it by the month. You pick up the month and see what you paid in that month. So it's not that hard. Just get off your ass and in fact, sit on your ass, pull up your computer or your phone and do it. Ain't that hard? Don't take. I'm 64. If I can do it at 64, y'all can do it. Quit whining. Okay.
Now, I haven't jumped on the Alien Earth bandwagon yet. Where exactly in the timeline of Alien does this take place?
Alien Earth takes place in 2120. The original Alien with Sigourney Weaver is 2122.
Okay. Okay.
So that's where it is. One of my curiosities, knowing how that goes, and the series of movies that follows it, is how this is going to play into that, because that first movie was Ridley Scott's, and this is produced by Scott Free, which is Ridley Scott's company. Jonah Raleigh Foley, whatever his name is. He's writing and producing the series, but he's doing it under Ridley's banner. And Ridley has gotten way more protective of his IP. But I will say, and Joe will get this, that they credited Shesett for the original Alien script, along with Dan O'Bannon. The original script was written by two guys, Dan O'Bannon and this Shesett dude, who I think it's Dave or something like that. They wrote it. O'Bannon then went and did a rewrite. Then David Giler and this other guy worked on the shooting script. But O'Bannon, because he was able to say, well, I did X amount of that, got the sole credit for the longest time for that script. This one, they go back and they credit the guy who worked with Dan O'Bannon on the script. So they have at least they have brought someone who had been shoved to the side.
They made him whole for
it's like Bob Kane and Bill Finger.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this time, it's based on characters based on characters created by Dan O'Bannon and Shesett. So he now gets his proper place in that history, which is, in my book, is a good thing.
It also makes me wonder what happened to Geiger, the designers of the Alien.
Mm-hmm.
Geiger gets the creatures. They always say that they always honor Geiger, but the script for the longest time was not all the writers who had done most of the heavy lifting on the script had not been noticed. It had been like, oh, Dan O'Bannon wrote the script, and yay Dan. Everybody was Team O'Bannon for the longest time. So this time they kind of put things in their proper perspective. And so because of that, it's like, okay, so they're paying attention to the history and the lore correctly. I am interested to see how they bring this into what we know as the foundational film. Now, we do know in the series Yutani, because it's Weyland Yutani. So they bought Yutani, merged with that company. They never changed it to just Yutani. It is Weyland Yutani, but the Yutanis are now running it. Even though it's called Weyland Yutani, the Yutanis are now in control. They're the ones running everything, calling the shots. It'll be interesting to see, since Yutani was very, and because this happens 2 years before the events that happened on the Nostromo, I can only assume that Yutani never gets their creatures back. And that's why they sent them over to LS Wappa Wappa Wappa. LV 436. Sorry, I'm old, okay? It took me a minute to pull it out the memory bank. Let me get in the Wayback Machine, y'all. Just driving me crazy. Anyway, um, the fact that this was, yeah, ash was planted on the ship. So obviously, I think it was a backup. Had things not gone sideways as we're seeing in this movie, they may have come back and not been woke up because they'd have had what they wanted. But because they didn't get it, and they knew enough about LV 436, they had got the signal. It was like, oh, let's check it out and see if what we wanted is there. And if it's there, crew expended. You know, because, and this is just my assumption, knowing what I know about the series, having watched most of those movies and stuff, and in watching this TV series, I'm extrapolating. And so that would make the most sense. That they never got their xenomorph for whatever reason. They really wanted the xenomorph. And they knew the Nostromo was, you know, they had picked up the signal, decoded it, because we knew Ripley was decoding the signal while she was on the ship, because she's the one that says, you know, this sounds less of a hailing frequency, whatever she called it. This sounds more like a warning. So if Ripley can sit there and decode it and go, you know, this doesn't sound like they're asking for help. This sounds more like they're telling us to stay the hell away. Obviously, Yutani and them had an idea of what they were looking for there. And this would explain, you know, how that was. So it'll be interesting to see how they tie these two in. I am it has got my curiosity bug, and I want to see it. I want to get on I want, at least for now, I'm willing to get on that train and ride it on down. Because, you know, I got to get on the crazy train with somebody. But yes, I highly recommend, if you have not watched it, there's intrigue, there's some really great grossness. Really good murder, death, kill. Just a dude dragging his body, half of them's gone. It was what I needed. Sorry. But yes, if you like gross alien kills, if you're sitting there 1 minute liking, woo, and the next minute, somebody needs to kill these people, this is the series for you. It will hit some buttons. It will definitely grab you in some feels. There will be people you will hate. There will be people you will feel sorry for. You might even love a few. My heart goes out to these children. And the actors portraying these roles, there's not a bad performance in the lot. They all doing good, including stupid 17-year-old trillionaire guy who I wish I knew where to find him so I could slam his head through my window. But, you know, that's just me. Anyway, that's Auntie Moo's, you know, report for the week.
Okay, because as of right now, I'm still waiting for that one thing to happen. Because you kept saying it's 2 years before. And I'm still waiting for Yutani to make up the decision to send the next expedition out in that direction. Because again, like you said, Ripley decoded it, but she decoded it on the way out there.
No. She decodes it when they wake up, and she's informed as they're heading to LV4, because they're almost at LV46 at the point the crew is woken up, because they have limited food stores and stuff, which is why because this is something like, by that point, the journey is about maybe from where they went, because they didn't go out as far as the ship in the series had went, because that was 65 years to go and come. This is only a few years because Ripley's daughter was she was 9, she was supposed to be turning 10 years old, and she told her she would be back in time for her birthday.
Mhm.
So this was a much shorter trip.
Hmm.
It wasn't going to take them the amount of time to get back. So they were woke
But
up.
they haven't launched the ship. That's what I'm extrapolating right now. It's like the events of this show has not
It's 2 years
led to the
before
launching of that ship back out there.
No, the Nostromo had been launched and was on its way back. They were already on their way back to Earth when Mother woke them up, and they were told they had to go to LV 436 and check out this wreck. So they were already on their way back to Earth. So,
but that was the original crew of the Nostromo, not Ripley's crew.
No, that's Ripley's crew. The first crew that Ripley had is the Nostromo. The crew on this
Okay, so now I'm kind of lost with Ash.
Okay,
It's like
there
what's
are
the
two
whole
crews that we're in. There are two.
Right,
The crew that we're introduced to the series. The look and feel of it is very much like we're used to the first movie.
Okay.
So the pods they're sleeping in, the clean room for Mother are things they took from that first movie from the Nostromo.
Okay, so the ship that crashed is not
the Nostromo. This is another ship that had been sent out 60. This ship had already been out to go where they went, get what they had, and come back was 65 years.
So okay. Let me
so by the time Ripley's crew is out, they have shortened the time it takes to get from here to there.
Okay.
And Ripley's crew has not gone out as far as this other ship because all they were doing was bringing back mining ore. They were sent out to go to this planet, get loaded with the ore, and bring it home. That was their original mission. They were not sent to go to LV 436. The crew of the ship on the series have been sent out to go and find these creatures.
Okay. All right. Just to make it a little bit simpler for me, I'm going to put it in terms of Star Trek here.
Okay.
I consider the first ship like the NC 1701.
Okay.
By the time we get to, I think it's the third movie, we have the 1701A. The 1701A is what I consider Ripley's ship, while what's on the series is the original 1701, NCC 1701.
And then by the time we get to Next Generation, it's 1701D.
Right, because again, C and B has never made it to the movies.
C was in the series. C is in the series. C is the one with the female captain when they're defending the Klingons.
Right. That's it. That's the next generation. That's the next generation. That's the next generation.
Yeah,
we found out what happened to C.
That was in this. So we find out what happened to C because they were the ship that went to Kittimer to save the Klingons. Okay. So yes, in this series, we are somewhere between this crew that has to go out, get all these creatures, and then come back would be Enterprise A.
No, it would be 1701.
Would be 1, sorry.
Yeah.
And then Nostromo
would be 1701A.
Would be 1A. So this is the first crew, like I said, because like I said, when this cyborg guy finally gets out of the ship and he gets into the town, he gets away from them. And I won't spoil it. There's a great conversation between him and Timothy Oliphant's character. And I love how Timothy Oliphant's character, because this cyborg guy is like, this is Weyland-Yutani vessel. This is my home. He goes, a vessel is a thing. It is not a place, it's a thing. It's like a baseball. Weyland-Yutani's baseball came into a neighbor's yard. It is no longer the neighbor's Weyland-Yutani baseball. Why? Because it's in our yard, and it is now our baseball. You know, so I can't. I'm not Timothy Oliphant. You have to watch it to see it. But
See, this is why I love this group of people. Joe tried to tried to simplify something by pulling Star Trek into it. Like that makes anything simpler.
It makes it simple for me because there's so many different versions of the exact same ship, and the ship designation makes it easier. You have 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D.
And I will tell you, while the inside of the ship, there are areas of the inside of the ship that are similar to the Nostromo in regards to the crew quarters, in regards to Mother's chamber. They went back to the original designs of the Nostromo. But the Nostromo was like, you know how you have a cargo ship? The Nostromo is a cargo ship. This thing that went and got all these creatures is a research and development vessel. It's a scientific research vessel. So it's like if Tony Stark had designed this baby. It's got these two little things, but everything else is very different because they've got to house all these creatures.
Right.
And they have to have specific containment for each one, because it turns out all of these creatures is deadly. There isn't a single creature on this ship, except for maybe the goat, that isn't deadly. And the goat may be carrying something, we just haven't seen it yet. But all these creatures, these alien creatures that they've gotten, deadly as fuck. Seriously. And because we see in the first episode when they're introducing us to the crew, the captain has maybe a couple of guys left, and he had a full contingent of crew. And he says he lost almost all his crew helping these people get these critters. It's down to him and two other dudes by the time we see this crew on their way back to Earth. So he ain't happy about it. He's lost an entire contingent of men. Trapping these critters for these scientists. He is not happy. And he also does not survive.
So now since I have a good understanding of what we got here, because now we're really talking about the difference between Captain Archer's ship versus Kirk's ship.
Yes, it's
Even
like
though Archer's ship has the warp drive engine, and it's almost the same model as the Kirk one. Captain Archer's ship was a different design altogether,
because it had a slightly different purpose. You know, and that is important.
For those who don't know who I mean by Captain Archer, we're going back to the original Enterprise that was the prototype. If you ever watched First Contact,
you'd get that.
First Contact was the whole reason why Archer's crew was talked about in a television series.
But
so I'm sorry, Cliff, but that's just the way that I have to think about vessels.
No, that's okay. I just, so long as I give you an idea of what the time frame is.
Okay,
but you know, and it's getting late. It's 9:05. I have not eaten dinner yet, and if I don't get some, I've made pasta salad, but if I don't get it soon, I may start chewing on Courtney, and she hates it when I bite her.
I thought she hates it when you draw blood.
I draw blood when I bite. I don't bite for the sake of biting. I'm drawing blood. It's what I am. But anyway, so I'm
waiting for the season to end before I watch it.
Okay.
I don't know. Aliens is kind of like, not to the same extent, because I'm not that invested in it as I am with Star Wars. I hate every time they come out with something new for it, because there's so much that's already been done that they just shit all over every time they make something new. It worries me. Like, I've read almost all of the Alien Dark Horse comics, and they were so much better than most of the stuff's come out since then. It
I
just it
think
hurts my soul.
the original AVP, because that helped reinvigorate both of those IPs, went back a little to Dark Horse. They actually kind of went back to the Dark Horse IP, but they couldn't use it exactly because they didn't give Dark Horse any money. But it was like, ooh, Dark Horse has something going there, and that's why I always think that story, because people had kind of lost interest in the alien concept, and then these guys were like, hey, what if we have it? And Dark Horse had already done it. Was like, ooh, in these comic books, they fight each other. We should do that, And they had some people sit down and write a decent enough script, and that's an Lathan and whatnot, because you want somebody who is very fish out of water with this situation, dealing with a bunch of other people who are fish out, who think they know everything, and find out no, they don't know half of what they think they know. And they won't listen to her because she's the smart woman in the group. So they went back to the first movie with that. In this series, there's no smart woman. There's no smart woman to try and tell people, y'all really shouldn't do this. This is not a good idea. And I think that is a failing. But it's also we don't want to, they're trying not to go that way. So, but yeah, it is something I think if you like good sci-fi, you like suspense, if you can deal with the fact that you have a lot of different groups with a lot of different you have a lot of disparate groups with each with their own desires and objectives, and caught up in this are a bunch of children and adult synthetic bodies who really shouldn't be there because they're children. And as children, they're reacting the way children do. And so some of them are handling it well enough, and others of them are not. And as things progress, it's going to stuff's going to hit the fan, and it's like, oh, there's some people I want to see die, and I don't want to see them die nicely. I want to see you die horribly with pain and much tears, but much pain and suffering, because that's the type of bitch I am. Anyway, I am out.
Okay, well, I do have to say this. I made myself a note, and I'm going to share it with everybody.
Okay.
If it comes up on screen here.
Note to self: watch
Star Trek Beyond. That's the one.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the only movie that I haven't seen. I haven't seen as of yet.
Okay.
I haven't seen any television series after Star Trek Beyond. So I haven't seen Picard. I haven't seen the other one that they have on Paramount.
First Contact.
No, I seen First Contact. No. Okay. That's an older movie.
Worlds.
I haven't seen Strange New Worlds. I haven't seen Strange New Worlds. So anything from that came out after Beyond, I haven't seen.
Okay.
And there's a reason behind that, because everybody used to poo-poo Edge of Darkness,
which I felt got screwed over. I enjoyed it, but that's just me.
It did a few things. It did a few things that I didn't like, such as the end of the reboot. Silas Spock and Nimoy Spock is like, we are not supposed to contact one another from this point forward. They would cause all of these different changes that you're not supposed to learn about, because he wanted that Spock to have his natural progression.
Yeah.
And we get into Darkness. And everything that happened in Silas Spock pretty much was like, I have to do it. It's like the situation I have to do. It's like I have to do it. He gets in contact with Nimoy Spock. Nimoy Spock started to rip him a new one. It's like, what did I tell you? And he was like, well, the situation calls for this. And he mentioned Khan. Nimoy Spock mind was instantly changed. I was like, nope, that's the wrong thing. That's not how Nimoy Spock would respond to that if this was the original TV series. He would not have responded in the way that he did. But it worked out. It was it was a very beautiful movie that added extra layers.
And this series adds
too much
extra
for
layers.
Cumberbatch being Khan, but he did a good interpretation of that version of Khan, which worked.
Yeah, I will say I respect Cumberbatch. This batch of British actors are like the older batch of British actors that we grew up because they knew how to make characters theirs without spitting on the actors who came before. Because sometimes you get American actors and they take over a role and the first thing they do is crap over the guy or girl that came before them.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of want to just smack their mamas. But on that, it's 12 after 9. We have prospective buyers coming to look at our building about 10 a.m. and I still have cleaning to do.
Okay.
Which means I have to get up very early in the morning and scrub the house.
So
anyway,
do your thing.
Thank y'all for coming. Hope you enjoyed the strangeness, for those of you who need it. Anyway, for those who sat with us, thank you. For those who will watch this later, thank you. I'm Elaine. You can find me at lenscaponline.com. And lenscaponline.com will lead you to all the other places that I am. Okay? Y'all have a good one. We love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the people you love. Have a good one. And, okay, got to remember how to do this. Peace.
And here's Cliff.
Thank you. Come again. I'm going to go watch War of the Worlds on Amazon now.
He's like, I've been challenged.
I'm going to go watch that because I love watching bad movies. If you want to join me, come on over.
And on that note, it's time for me to say that this episode of Comic Book Spectrum, as stated before, is brought to you by Plasma Fire Graphics and Jeffrey Hayes. If you need a cover for your next novel, graphic novel, or comic book, the person you want to hit up is Jeffrey Hayes. Why? He is an award-winning artist for books that have been in, if I could say, in the eyes of a lot of pulp writers, have won Pulp Factory Awards more than 4 times. So yes, this is the guy that you want to get in contact with if you want that cover that really makes your story sing here. If you don't believe me, take a gander at this video.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You seen the covers? Don't you agree? He's probably going to be the right guy to get to do your next cover. So hit him up at plasmafiregraphics.com or his Facebook group for Plasma Fire Graphics. As far as I'm concerned, I will be right back here Saturday for another episode of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. What we're going to talk about, I don't know, because why? I already ranted this week. So, I'm one of those people that's one rant per week here. But that article, was, it said a lot. It said a lot that really should have been looked at a little bit deeper here. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and rewind the episode and watch it from the very beginning. It was the article that Cliff mentioned in the very beginning. But until then, live life, grow, and be well. And unlike Brian K. Morris, who is the founder of this show, I don't care if you wash your hands, but never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. Catch you here right next week on Thursday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another episode of Comic Book Spectrum. Bye.